In this video we're going to look a little bit more at security. I'm going to look at locking down our database and our search. So right now, from the last tutorial we connected as test.test.com, and if we remember, we have one entry, Peter Jones, and when we click to edit this entry, there's no way of editing it. We will sort that out in future, but for now what we're going to do is we're going to change control access to our address book, so we don't have to disconnect yet, but we will do is just to show you how it works in a minute. So let's go to plugin tutorials. We'll go to all databases. Now what we're going to do for our address book is we're going to change access control. So in the database settings we can scroll down to access control. If you want to understand in more detail how access control works, just click on this and there's a bit of information there. If you've ever worked with access control before, it's pretty standard stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit this, and this is our database one, this is our main database, and we're going to say that adding items is going to be private, managing items is going to be private, and viewing items is going to be private, and we're going to save those settings. So right now, as we're logged in as connected as test.test.com, we should be able to have access to everything. So we can enter here. You see the email has now gone. We don't have to enter that because we're connected as test.test. My items, again, we're fine because we're connected. To get my items should bring exactly the same results as before, as it does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect and we'll see what effect this has. So if I try and get my items, we'll get the unlock padlock. If I refresh this page, same thing, we can't do anything. Data entry, we can't enter anything right now because, where are we? We have adding as private. If I change that to public, we should see the email address reappear. There we go, and we can add without being connected. So as I said, we're going to lock down our adding items. And everything we do now with this database will be subject to those access controls. So let's just refresh this page. And we'll have my items again. So I'm going to connect as test.test.com. If I use this email address, it's wrong. Okay, so we're not. Let's just see what happens here. I just copy the code. There we have it. Connect. Okay, so I can now get my items and I can see nothing matched because we've used a different email address. So what I'm going to do is disconnect and connect with the correct email address this time. Get my items, test.test.com. Just get the email. Right now we can paste that in there. And get my items, we should see. Oh, that's because we need to refresh the page. It's still cached what we had before. There we go. Okay, so that should be clear to you about how this now works. We're going to add another entry. It should add perfectly. We're going to add Paul Smith this time. We submit, and that's been added successfully. We go back to My Items, and we go to Get My Items again. And there we go, we've got 2 items there. One thing to note is we do not have the share icon now. That is because in the database settings we've got viewing as private, so there's no public sharing that's possible. So if I copy this and I'm going to disconnect, I can see if I search, we should not get permission to see this. There we go, you do not have permission to view this item. Okay.